Tesla smashed it last week, up 5.5% in the last 5 days. TSLY was also up 4.41% in the last 5 days. So it's no surprise that my Tesla synthetic was also up, but it was only up 3% in the last 5 days. So in this video, we're going to go through how much money I've made, how much dividends, where I am in the portfolio, all the moves that I've made, all that kind of good stuff. We'll also look at the technical analysis to see what is going on with Tesla. And if you like the sound of that, all I ask for is that you smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. So if you guys remember last week, because I can't read a calendar, I did a 2-week covered call where so far in this challenge, I've been doing a weekly covered call. So we have a quick look to see what happened or how that all played out. Is that I did the 170 covered call expiring 28th of March, which was last Thursday. And you can see here, because Tesla was up at 175.79, I actually made a loss on that. Sorry, for $422 loss. However, because I had the 162 synthetic and obviously closed that synthetic out, I've managed to capture $1,300 in terms of synthetic premium gains. So if we net that out with the 442, that's where I get the $919, which was a 4.12% return across 2 weeks on my portfolio. So again, if you divide these numbers by 2, it's roughly around, what's that, 460 and around 2% of the account. So we're looking around week 7, week 8, where I did around just under 2% or just over 2% of the account, and around the 450, 460 mark over here. So that's how you would compare it. And again, I've gone back to, which we'll look at in a second, back to weeklies again, because I've learned how to read a calendar. So if we translate that into how much money I've actually made, so total dividends today is just under $6,000. And remember, I started this near the end of December, so it's been just over 3 months and I made $6,000. Now, the projected yield based on the current dividend yield of 73% is just under $22,000. So in about a year and 3 months, I would have made back my $30,000, and then whatever's remaining in the account, I am playing with house money. So how does this translate into a NAV where I started with 30,000, and if I reinvested the total dividends on here, my current balance would be 22,950. That is a 23% loss. Now, because I'm withdrawing the dividends, which is the synthetic premium collected and also the covered call premium collected, I'm actually down 30% in the overall portfolio, which is the -7 grand or -9 grand, sorry, divided by the $30,000. And the reason why with the dividends reinvested is this 2,262, which then gets you to the 23%. So that is where I'm currently at inside the portfolio. So some people who are watching this have commented down below that, this will eventually go to zero. That is only if, in my view, if Tesla continues to tank. And we'll look at the TA in a second, where you can see that, we reached the bottom, we're on its way, it's making lower highs, and I think it'll continue to do that in the foreseeable future. So we have a look at what we did for this week. Is I re-established the synthetic, which I closed out at 177.50, and with the current price at 175.79. So it's thereabouts to where Tesla is currently trading. And then obviously I'm selling a cover call above the synthetic, which is at 182.50 for $324, which is my estimate for the week. So if we have a look then at the technicals, apologies, you can see here that again, we hit the weekly pivot, it gapped up over here, touching the high of this previous weekly pivot, and then continued to suddenly go back down. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks here, 10, 11, the last 11 weeks, it has hit its pivot in some shape or some form. So again, the stats do align on why I like weekly pivots, is that we will naturally, or the underlying will naturally gravitate to them. It does miss sometimes, which you can see in previous, if you look back historically at Tesla's chart, but again, it looks to come back and to fulfill those missed pivot levels. So if we have a look at where the current pivot is, it's currently at the current price, where current price is 175.29 and it's at 176.25. So I'm expecting it to hit this pivot on Monday unless it gaps down and does something a bit crazy. So if we have a look at where we are, and again, this is what I talked about earlier in the video with the lower highs that it's creating. So again, if we continue with this trend line, we might see a bounce back to the 173 level and continue higher. And again, I strategically placed this covered call pretty much at the previous highs here, just because I think it's not going to be that hard for Tesla to get there, and then hopefully make some gains on the synthetic as well. So that's the kind of overview on the TA that I'm looking at. We really want to start pushing above 185, which would be a good level to start going for Tesla. And if we go back to here where I first started, this is why my account is down 30% or 23% with or without dividends, is because it's had a terrible run with its margins squeezing and all these kind of good things. But at some point, it will need to stop. And even if it just goes sideways, that's still good for me picking up that covered call income. The synthetic really not really making much of a difference. But here, even if I was looking at a year to date of Tesla, Tesla's down 30%. TSLY is down 32%. So again, I'm in the ballpark with where the underlying is. No one would be saying anything if I was down 30% and I was investing in Tesla. Difference is I've been making some money along the way. So again, you could argue that my timing's been poor. If I started, this journey here, it would be a different conversation. But again, it's probably good that it's gone this way so you guys can see what it's like through the good times and also the bad times. Well, I've only had a few good times. One good time here. This was all pretty much bad. This was a good time. This was a good time. And we're currently in a couple of weeks of good times as well. So again, more bad than good. But overall, you can see how we're still collecting cash. We still got a high dividend yield with a high volatile stock. And again, I encourage you to subscribe if you want to continue watching this journey to see if this thing will go to zero or if I'll actually make my money back. So again, I'll leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please make sure you smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below if you've got any questions, and I shall see you guys in the next video.